America opened the 19th century with one kind of expansion, manifest destiny, and closed the century with a new kind of expansion, imperialism. Many times before, Americans had moved into new lands and territories, Texas, California, Hawaii, establishing a powerful economic presence, a presence that would eventually cry out for protection from the homeland. In 1895, the cry came from Cuba. The economic interests were the American sugar growers. The threat was the Cuban revolutionaries trying to free themselves from their Spanish overlords. This time the war fervor was fanned by a powerful new source, the press. As a result, the battleship Maine was sent to Havana harbor as a show of force and to protect American interests. The Maine's captain, Charles Sigsbee, described what happened on that fateful night, February 9, 1898, as taps echoed through his cabin.
I laid down my pen and listened to the notes of the bugle, which were singularly beautiful in the oppressive stillness of the night. I was enclosing my letter in its envelope when the explosion came. The situation could not be mistaken. The Maine was blowing up and sinking.
Though the cause of the explosion that sunk the Maine was never determined, the press was certain who was responsible. Like the Alamo 60 years before, the rallying cry was,
"Remember the Maine! To hell with Spain!"
The new warhawks, Teddy Roosevelt and Commodore George Dewey, agitated for an independent Cuba. On April 24, 1898, Spain declared war on the United States. The United States responded by saying a state of war had already existed since the 21st. The Spanish-American War, which was later described by Secretary of State John Hay as a splendid little war, now began. In the Pacific on May 1st, Commodore Dewey and his flotilla of ships were visiting Hong Kong when he received word of the war. He immediately set sail for the Spanish colony in the Philippine Islands. There he encountered the Spanish fleet at Manila Harbor. In a matter of hours, the Spanish fleet was completely destroyed while only one American sailor had died. Teddy Roosevelt led his Rough Riders onto Cuba's shores in July. American and Spanish forces met at the San Juan Hills. Anxious for victory, mounted on a horse, Roosevelt, with saber and pistol in hand, led his troops in a charge up the ridge. Reaching the top of the hill, he saw the Spanish defenders flee. In Santiago Harbor, on a lazy morning, a second Spanish fleet attacked the blockading American ships. Seaman Cross of the battleship Oregon described the battle.
"It was a big turkey shoot. The fleet came out and went to Davy Jones's locker."
By noon, the Spanish ships were all destroyed. Another American force took Puerto Rico on August 9th, and the war was essentially over. Spain ceded the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico to the United States, and Cuba became an independent nation. America was now ready to move into the 20th century as an international imperial power with a new kind of leader, Teddy Roosevelt, who had a cuddly stuffed animal named after him, the teddy bear.